Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
To a story that's been gaining a lot of coverage on social media. It's been trickling in and out of the newspapers and other media in a way, but it's gaining a bit of strength as MPs have branded Cafe Nero, the coffee chain, spineless after the company gave in to threats by animal rights activists. Cafe Nero agreed to protesters' demands for a boycott of milk from badger cull areas, penalising farmers already suffering from the impact of bovine tuberculosis. The move comes amid criticism also of the coffee shop chain for certain tax, or claimed to be tax irregularities. Now, Cafe Nero says they feared for their workers' safety if they continue to get milk from Gloucestershire and Somerset, where a badger cull pilot scheme is in operation. Politicians say the firm should not have given a stuff about the protesters and should have continued to support British farmers. Some angry customers have cut up their loyalty cards and urged others not to give in to hippies wearing badger masks. 200 protesters from Stop the Cull campaign threatened to target their cafes in a march on June 20. The company said it instructed its partners supplying the stores around the cull zone areas to supply milk from farms outside of the zone. This is, its statement said, an issue of concern for some. Should they have backed down? Jay Tiernan is from Stop the Cull, joins me now. Were you involved in this? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Yes, I was been involved in the campaign against Neros for a couple of years, and I'm very pleased to hear that Neros are no longer sourcing milk from the badger cull zones, and I'm not entirely convinced that they have capitulated over threats. I think some commentators have noticed that it could well have been linked to its potential PR disaster. The British Veterinary Association has recently come out against this method. Now, the method of killing the badgers, which is free shooting. The British Veterinary Association are a pro-cull organisation. They believe that the badger cull should go ahead, and the government always used the British Veterinary Association's backing of the culls to say, well, we've got the backing of the BVA. The BVA now are against this method of free shooting. So every time we have examples after a cull of a badger taking 20 minutes to die or several shots, that death can be linked to your business if you're Cafe Nero. Now, Cafe Nero, I think, made quite a sensible move to distance themselves from the badger cull. And if they then want to blame us because they were threatened or they were worried, they can do. But we've been protesting against them for 2 years.
But why only Cafe Nero, Mr. Tiernan?
Because of we've researched the milk suppliers of all of the coffee shops and all of the supermarkets. So Starbucks, we were campaigning against them last year, and in April of last year, the CEO got back to us and told us that in May they would be changing milk suppliers anyway, and they were changing milk suppliers over to Arla. Arla don't have any suppliers within the coal zones. So
you're confident that the only major cafe shop chain using milk from this area was Cafe Nero? They're the only one left?
They're the only ones that I'm confident about at the moment.
And what of the suggestion that the farmers who are in that area, who are suffering enough already, you're now increasing their suffering because such a large chain can't buy their milk?
Well, if they don't sign up to the badger cull, then they won't be affected by it, will they?
But hang on, if they don't sign up to the... Well, how would you deal with bovine TB?
Well, the way that Wales have dealt with bovine TB and the way that the government is dealing with bovine TB, which is tighter cattle control movements. In Wales, the rates of BTB have dropped by over 50% in a period of 5 years. No badgers have been killed.
Stay on the line if you would. Let's speak with Jeff Trunkfield, who's an NFU National Farmers Union member and is a farmer himself based in Sussex. What would you say to these protesters, Mr. Trunkfield?
I think it's fairly sick to actually target a small group, a small company, well, a company like Cafe Nero, but especially to put their workers under threat. The TB is a real national problem. It's very difficult to differentiate where milk comes from because milk ships all over the place in 30,000 litre tankers and is into mega dairies now. But the bit that strikes me as a farmer, they were talking on the edge areas of the infected areas, they're talking about vaccination program. Now, if these people really care about badgers, if you vaccinate badgers for 4 years, you actually are supposed to decrease the TB drastically. Now, if these people, instead of running around in balaclavas and half the night terrorising people on criminal acts, were to train up to do the badger vaccination, and they tell me you have to do it. You have to set the traps at night and then check them on first light in the morning, which at this time of the year is 4 o'clock in the morning. It would certainly give them something to do, and they'd be doing something really positive, because it can't be ignored, the TV. And the badger, unfortunately, is the main host, and the controls that are very stringent and are being upheld.
Mr. Tiernan, why don't you take this advice?
I know I work with people who have taken that advice and who are working as vaccinators and who have registered as vaccinators, but I dispute the fact that badgers are the main host. The main host is cattle. When you increase the cattle controls, and previously, back in the 60s, we used to have whole herd slaughter. That worked. It reduced the amount of TB in the national herd. What we really do, the final solution to all of this is a cattle vaccination. Now, that can't be done because of EU regulations, but it's something that farmers and the NFU should be lobbying government for, and they should be lobbying it hard. We always hear this, it will be 10 years, it will be 10 years. We've been hearing that for 15, 20 years, that the cattle vaccine is another 10 years away, another 10 years away. The cattle vaccine is going to be the only solution, because at the end, you can kill lots and lots of badgers, they will repopulate the area, and the cows will still have TB, and it will just carry on, and it will carry on, it will carry on, it will carry on forever, and what's going to happen is you're killing a lot of badgers.
Mr. Trunkfield, that's all you have, is effectively badger carnage.
Well, I don't think you need to get badger carnage, because I understand this vaccination program. You do need probably to find the infected ones, and science seems to have been lacking a little bit in the TB business, because, like the fellow said, it's always been 10 years away from cattle vaccination, and that would be dead easy if we could put it into operation. But that for some, all the rules say it can't be done, and so until they say it can, we can't. But it is the badger population has absolutely exploded over the last few years.
But it hasn't.
No, it has.
It actually hasn't.
No, it hasn't. About there. And the trouble is, as soon as they've reared up their young, they have to disperse, and then that's when you sort of get the trouble.
That isn't true either. That isn't true either.
What are you saying is not true, Mr. Tiernan?
Two things. The badger population has not exploded in Gloucestershire.
You want to live in the difference is that it does.
You will come in, Mr. Trunkfield. Let me just get Mr. Tiernan. You're saying that it hasn't, Mr. Tiernan.
In the year 2000, there was a cull of badgers in the Gloucestershire area. The population at the time was 12 badgers per square kilometre. During the culls in 2013, before the culls took place, the badger population was 8 per square kilometre. It has actually gone down. And Owen Paterson famously said the badgers have moved the goalposts.
That's right.
The populations swing up and down. They do swing up and down, but around 10 per square kilometre.
Mr. Trunkfield?
Well, the amount of them, just living in the country, the amount of badgers you see running on the roads at night, you can come through 2 or 3 miles and see 3 or 4 badgers crossing the road. You never used to see that amount, and you can see that more with the activity and where they're setting up new sets, etc.
Mr. Tiernan, point for you.
There's still a maximum population density, and badgers, like many other animals, like foxes, will only breed according to the amount of food available. They will not just breed. They're not like rabbits. They don't just breed another 10 each year, another 10. They breed according to what's available. So they don't breed. There isn't population explosions, and there is no science to back that.
Let's just come back lastly, Mr. Tiernan, to one of Mr. Trunkfield's initial points, which was, were you actually threatening or intimidating Cafe Nero's staff, and if so, why?
No, we weren't intimidating Cafe Nero's staff at all. We have been handing out leaflets outside of their shops for 2 years. There haven't been.
Do you wear balaclavas when you do this?
Outside Cafe Nero's? Yeah. No, we certainly don't.
Right. Okay. No, I was just picking up on some of the points that my other contributor made.
Yeah. No.
So, what was the idea then? What were you to have done on June the 20th?
On June the 20th, because there's so many people in one place, we would have been able to demonstrate outside many shops all at one time. So there would have been a couple of hundred people, all with leaflets, and they would have been able to do the 20 or so stores all in one go. So we could have had like a London day of action where people hand out leaflets to all of the customers, and we need to engage with customers to talk to them about the badger cull.
So there was no sort of inherent threat of violence or activism in any form?
Certainly not. We see the customers of people going in and out of these stores as potentially people that are going to join us and join the campaign against the badger cull. Shouting at them isn't going to do that. You know, it's not like a fur demonstration where you're shouting at people wearing fur. You're trying to engage with the public to discuss the issue of the badger cull. What this is about is trying to raise awareness it's actually taking place. And the key thing is that the government independent expert panel and the British Veterinary Association have both claimed that this method is inhumane, and the government should be listening to those advisors.
You see, you sound very reasonable, but your background suggests that you can sometimes become involved in harassment.
No, I haven't got any previous convictions for harassment.
Well, weren't you sentenced earlier this year for breaking an injunction on harassing people involved in culling?
I was sentenced to for a number of offences.
Here's the other thing, and everybody in this country is free to do this, but you actually, Tiernan isn't your real name, is it?
Yes, it is my real name, and I would suggest that you don't use the Daily Mail as a source of facts. Otherwise,
what is this suggestion that you're? I mean, I could call myself Mickey Mouse, should I so desire. It's no crime, but I'm just intrigued that there seems to be the suggestion you're actually Gamal Eboe.
I can send you a picture.
No, you don't have to. It's not a crime, Mr. Tiernan. You, as I say, you can call yourself anything. Obviously, you can't fill in legal documents, but it could be seen to perhaps take some ground away from you if you're actually not who you say you are. But you have your opportunity to tell me the truth now.
Well, you can write a cheque out to me to Mr. Tiernan, and you'll see if I cut it or not.
No, but why is there this confusion? You've never been Gamal Eboe.
What I'm saying is I don't think that you should use the Daily Mail as a source for your...
No, but I'm just intrigued. Have you ever... That's why I'm trying to get to the truth, and I'm very grateful for your input. Have you ever been known as Gamal Eboe?
I'm not going to be drawn on this, so you can keep asking me, but I'm not going to be... The reason that I'm not going to be drawn on it is because a number of the things that the Daily Mail have said about me today involve my friends and my family.
I wouldn't dream of touching on them. I'm only asking you... And this is your opportunity, Mr. Tiernan. And I say again, it's not a crime to call yourself J. Tiernan. You could call yourself whatever you... Call yourself Nancy Reagan, should you so desire. I'm just intrigued as to whether you were once Gamal Eboe, and why this is such a contentious issue.
It's not a particularly contentious issue. The Daily Mail presented a number of allegations to me, and I responded to them.
So the Mail have made this name up, have they, the Daily Mail?
I'm saying that the Daily Mail have asked me a number of questions, and I responded to them, and they haven't put any of my responses in. They've made a number of claims.
Well, go ahead. Here you are. Were you once Gamal Eboe?
Not only about who I am, but about my family.
I wouldn't dream of going into that. I think I've...
But that's what the Daily Mail have done.
But do you see, it speaks a little bit to your credibility if you're not even prepared to tell me whether or not you were once known as someone, or even the reason why it's so contentious.
The reason that it's so contentious is exactly as I've just explained to you. If you want, I can go through the points of why I explained to the Daily Mail why I wouldn't be drawn in on questions about my personal life.
Right.
And the first reason is that since this Cafe Nero story has come out, the number of people that are threatening to attack me or kill me has increased quite dramatically. I am not a singular person all by myself. I do have family.
Right.
I don't want not only myself to be attacked, but I don't want my family to be attacked either.
Right.
So I am not going to be drawn on questions about who I am, where I live, who my parents' names are.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to. I don't want to know where you live. I don't want to know. I don't want to know your parents' names. But you are a fairly public figure, I understand.
I am a fairly public figure. That doesn't give people access to my private life.
No, of course it doesn't. But people are going to know who you are, so people will ask questions.
And I've just explained to you, I'm not prepared to. My name is
J. Tiernan. I get that, Mr. But has the Daily Mail just magicked this name up, thrown letters out of a Scrabble box or something, and just come up with that name?
The Daily Mail say that J. Tiernan isn't my name. I can send you a copy of my passport.
No, I believe you. I think for the last time, because we're all getting rather tired, I'm just intrigued. Either you were once known as Gamal Eboe, or the Mail have just fabricated a name. Which would it be?
And I keep telling you the reason why I'm not being drawn on this is because I've got family and friends who I don't...
Well, I don't want to jeopardise the safety of your family and friends. I'm grateful for your time. You are J. Tiernan. You're one of the founders of Stop the Cull. Thank you for your input. Jeff Trunkfield, sorry to have kept you on the line. You're from the NFU, the National Farmers Union. You're a farmer based in Sussex. We're very late to the 8:15 news on LBC, Lisa Aziz.
A former FIFA executive...
8:24. OK, to the Badger Cull in a moment. John Martin, you're going to be among the first callers, but we must move on to other things, and then we will come back to your views on the Badger Cull and the MP's fury at the...